Okay, so let's start. Okay, so we are live now. Welcome everyone. Welcome Andy. Thank you for accepting and sharing this time with us. So
Buenos
this is
dias.
that buenos dias. Andy speak a little of Spanish, but we're going to make that um, he practice his Spanish with us today.
Oh, no, no, no. Necesito, yo olvido mi español. Necesito practicar mucho más.
Un poco más de práctica, sí, con nosotros puedes practicar. Welcome, Andy. Thank you very much. So let's start. As you know, Andy just completed the Ocean 7 challenge. And in the upper water community, this is known as the most challenging journey that a swimmer can do. And to do that in less than a year, this for raise awareness for mental health. So that is why we want to talk with him about this and also help somehow to spread the message that mental health is important. Mental health needs to be in the topic of everyone's house and everyone's families and works and every place. So we are more aware of this issue that is a worldwide issue. So, uh, okay, so let's start. Andy, tell us a little bit about your open water swimming career. So, how did you start it? How do you progress with that? And if you want to share with us some curious facts about this.
Sure, of course. So I actually I grew up as a pool swimmer in Scotland and in the UK. It wasn't really until my mid 20s that I started open water. It was only really when I moved to Western Australia that I was exposed to it. It's a huge part of the culture over here. Swimming down at the beach, and there's through summer there's races every weekend in the open water. So they've got an incredible setup here, and yeah, I was just encouraged into it by the people I was surrounded by. So um, did it for a couple of years competitively. This is back in 2015 and 2016. Stepped away from the sport for a good 4 years before really returning to it in COVID. And really, when I did that, I didn't have any intention to go on and do these big channel swims. Something like the Ocean 7 was a pipe dream for me. Um, but from encouragement from a mentor of mine, he encouraged me to revisit some of my old swimming goals, and to have a crack at a local race here in Western Australia called the Rottnest Channel Swim. It's a huge event. About 400 swimmers do it as a solo every year, so it's about 20 kilometres in distance. And I really gave it a good crack in 2021. I spent 10 months dedicating myself to train up for that. Um, and we partnered with a local mental health charity in Perth to raise money for them during this race. And I fortunately went on to win the Rottnest Channel Swim. We raised, I think, around $10,000 for this charity, and that was really the genesis for and the inspiration for what led me on to doing the Ocean 7.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's interesting. So you started with um, local competition, swimming competition, prepare for that, and then you realize that you have some potential there, and then also mentors always push you to apply to this open water challenge.
Yeah, that's it. So it was really encouragement from an old friend. And if I look back at my competitive swim career, I didn't feel like I had reached my potential in that. I'd left the sport feeling quite unfulfilled, in that I had let a lot of people down that might have believed in me, and spent a lot of time and placed a lot of faith in me during my younger years. So Rottnest was a great chance to almost like a second chance, really. And I couldn't believe how well it came together. We pulled off this incredible swim, almost broke the record in that attempt, and I'd beaten some guys who were on the Australian Dolphins team, and ranked some of the best in the world in marathon swimming, and that was a real indicator to me that maybe I'm still quite fit and fast, and I knew myself I still had a lot of hunger and fire in the tank to go on and do something else. And for me, it was the Ocean 7 that I wanted to give a crack.
Excellent. So yeah, that's how everything started. So now you know. Let's move to the next question, to the next topic. This is Ocean 7 for Mental Health and the Black Dog Institute. So how this idea become like in a reality? So how do you reach out to Black Dog Institute? And for the people that don't know, this is and correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, this is an Australian institute that is dedicated to prevent, to raise money, to help people, and to raise awareness around mental health, right, in general. So, and also, Andy is going to explain a little more, but it's partnering with you in the Ocean 7, right?
Yes. So I'll first explain. So mental health has always been something that's quite important for me, and a cause or an issue that's been close to my heart. Growing up, my inspiration and one of my idols was my grandfather, and he was someone that taught myself, my sister, my cousin a lot about life. Had such a big impact on all of us. But he was also someone that suffered greatly with depression, and to see how it impacted his life, and then later on in my own life, to have experienced struggles as well. In 2019, I went through a real low patch, and really was going through some tough times. Um, I knew how much of an important thing it is, and for me, swimming was something that helped me with my managing my mental well-being. It provided a lot of structure in life, and access to community, which are all things that help. And so when it came to choosing a cause to support, mental health was one that I just felt went hand in hand with swimming. The Black Dog Institute, they're an Australian-based charity, but their reach is global. They do a lot in terms of mental health research, so trying to understand not just how to treat mental illnesses, but how to prevent them as well. They do a lot of studies um, across the lifespan to better understand it as an issue. And it's something that affects anybody and everyone. So I've always felt that the better we understand it, the better equipped we are in the future to be able to deal with it as an issue. And you know, I'd love to see it one day being a topic that's taught at school to kids, so that they're equipped with the necessary tools to manage life's challenges when they inevitably come.
Mm-hmm. And understand, and I think this is a really important, right? A really important subject, and also what the Black Dog Institute is doing, or is what is pursuing is really important to understand the baseline of the disease, because mental health diseases are diseases as any of the ones that we can see, touch, and treat. The difference is that sometimes it's harder because we don't see depression. We can touch depression. We can so we can see, sometimes we can see a people smile and we think that the people is doing good, but in the inner part of the body, in the mind, something is not good, and it's not. Sometimes we cannot understand how to help. So I think this is a good topic, a good cause. I'm also, in my family, have some struggles with depression. So also, that is also why I am interested in this topic, and also I'm interested in how to somehow spread this reality. And I think it's important. Don't be quiet. Don't just be ashamed, maybe, because this is like if we have cholesterol, if we have some cardiac disease, it's a little harder to treat, but not impossible. And we need to be we need to be hopeless that some time in the future, like efforts like this and efforts like Andy is doing to try to raise awareness to about this topic, mental health are going to be as any other disease that we can treat, and we're going to have more opportunities at hand to treat. So let's pray for that. Let's hope someday we can say finally we can have mental disease treatment for everyone, for anyone, and in the base we can prevent it. So thank you for that, Andy, and also for sharing this with us. I think it's very, very important to talk about this subject. I bet that many people that are currently struggling with mental health diseases are going to be touched and feel company that they are not alone in this journey. So I think that that's good. Okay, thank you. Now let's move to the next topic, which is the first ocean, the English Channel, which is swim from England to France. 33 kilometers completed. That was back in August 2022. It means a British record for you. And my question would be, what was the most difficult aspect of this channel? And how did you prepare for it?
Well, very, very good question. So we did the English Channel, as you mentioned, August 2022. It was a British record, 8 hours exactly. For me, it was the first real foray into these ultra marathon swims. I'd done the Rottnest Channel swim. I'd done two other marathon swims in Australia, the Derwent River Big Swim and a swim called the Pan to Shelley swim. But this was the first time that I've gone to a location, and I'm sure many people listening would be able to relate. You have what's called the Dover roller coaster, or the Dover coaster, where you turn up, and it's not like traditional swimming when you know almost down to the minute which day and which minute that you're going to be swimming. You can be swimming anytime during this window of 5 to 7 days. And I was on the coast. I was slot 4, so I was towards the back end of the window, and it was a very nerve-wracking time. You know, starting this challenge, we'd been quite vocal about what we planned to do. We wanted to try do this Ocean 7 challenge within the space of a year, and to break the cumulative record for the challenge, which was 64 hours and 30 minutes. And we knew that we needed a good start to get the momentum going and to show people that, right, we're actually serious about this. Um, and it's hard when you put your goals out there for people to see and for people to scrutinize. I did that. I put a post up, and I received messages from people saying that can't be done. No one's done it before. You won't get the slots. Um, you know, a fair bit of negativity, but at the same time, we knew that we wanted to attract as much attention as we could to what we were doing, in the hope that it would shine a light on the purpose behind it, which was to raise money for mental health. So it was worth doing that for that purpose. And what it ended up doing was it also attracted people to our challenge, and to what to people who were sticking their hand up, offering to help, which was the flip side of things. So that was really good, and it was difficult because there's a lot of uncontrollables going into these swims. You don't know what day you're going to be swimming. You don't know how the conditions are going to be. They might change when you're out there. And that was the first time I really had to get used to all that and just accept that we can't control these things. Just focus on what is within your control. And really, the only thing that is in control is in your own control is the effort that you give on the day. So if you're giving it your best, you can't ask for more. And fortunately for us, we had quite a nice day, and we managed to get across in a very good time.
Wonderful. The channel is like, this English channel is like a summary of all maybe the struggles that we can manage: anxiety, uncertainty, many things, right? But you said something very important. If we're about to do our best, and the rest, it's what needs to be. So if we did everything we have, then
Yeah,
that's good.
exactly.
And the result,
If you've focused on the things that you can control, you've prepared as best as you can, you give it the best you can on the day, you know, can we really
yeah,
do more? And if that's good enough to get across the channel, then great. Anything above that is a bonus.
yeah, that's great, and that become a record. So yeah, nice. So let's move to the next ocean. The North Channel, Ireland from Scotland, 34 kilometers completed. That is back in September 22, another British record. And my question would be, what was the worst moment and how you overcome it?
And so there was a moment in this swim. It was around the 3 hour mark, and for anyone that's not familiar with the North Channel, many people consider it to be the toughest channel swim in the world. You've got very unpredictable weather, and where you're situated in the north of the United Kingdom, the water is very, very cold. So that's probably the biggest challenge. And then the other one is the lion's mane jellyfish, which is a very venomous strain of jellyfish. The worst moment, or the toughest moment I remember, was around the 3 hour mark, where we were swimming on a fairly overcast and cloudy day. The water temperature would have been about 14 degrees, which is quite warm for North Channel standards. But I could just feel, I just felt so cold. I felt so incredibly cold. And I could just feel that my muscles were seizing up, my body was shutting down, and that I was really struggling out there. And in my head, I'm thinking, right, use my usual tools to address this. Positive self-talk and slow breathing. Um, all these tools that had helped in the past. when times get tough, and none of it was working. I was just slowing down. My pace was plummeting, um, and the negative thoughts were starting to creep in. I can't do this. I'm cold. I've still like how am I can't. I don't even know if I can continue to swim for the next 15 minutes. Never mind the next 15 kilometers. Uh, and so I remember looking up at the guys on the boat and realizing I'm not out here on my own. I've got my team with me, so I shouted up to Jay Purcell. He's been a key supporter of mine throughout this journey. Jay Purcell, my mum was on the boat. Jer Kennedy, shouted up to them, and I just said, "Arms are heavy, feeling cold, but energy is feeling good." And they burst out laughing, and it was something as simple as this. We usually communicate using a whiteboard. So Jay just wrote a message. I hear you loud and clear. Don't worry, we're with you. And I just remember feeling instantly this feeling of relief that I wasn't tackling this challenge on my own. My team were there with me, and together we were going to find a solution. And so the team, they changed my nutrition. They ramped up the feeds, so they increased the proportion, which was hot water, in order to try heat me up from within my core. We made our feeds. We brought them down from every 20 minutes to every 15 minutes, and it really made a huge difference. And I remember, getting quite warm, getting faster again, and the pace really picked up, and we were able to continue for another 6 hours out there, and really bring it home hard. And it almost got to the stage where we were battling for the world record. Ended up finishing, I think, 4 minutes shy, but to go from almost stopping to almost breaking a record, it was a real big turnaround, and it was a great reminder of the importance of teamwork. And when you're struggling, it's okay to ask for help.
Yes, yes. Um, Many lessons, right? Many lessons learned. I think many lessons for everyone. So cool water, it's a very, very challenging thing.
Uh, I don't like
But
it.
yeah, yeah, and that the team help, the team effort, the teamwork that is behind you. It's the most important thing, I guess, because if as Andy has mentioned, the team provide that security, that comfort, and also prepare the formula, prepare the mix that helps Andy overcome the cool water, and that's amazing. So for everyone who is planning to swim in cool water, this experience from Andy can help. So I guess it's important to share that knowledge as well. So a great story, and congratulations for that. I didn't have the opportunity to hear these details, so I'm really impressed and glad that you were able to overcome this difficult swim.
Mm.
Okay, so now let's move to our third ocean. This is the third ocean is Cook Strait, which is from North Island to the South Island. This in New Zealand, and the distance completed was 22 kilometers, and that was in March this year, and also a world record. And my question for you is, how did you handle to break this world record, and it was what was the most difficult part or aspect of this swim?
The most difficult aspect of this swim was the lead up to it. It wasn't the swim itself. So I had travelled across to New Zealand at the start of February. I'd been liaising with Jacqueline McClelland from Infinity, and she had just said, you know, we'd obviously had this successful swim in the North Channel. I didn't have a swim organised in New Zealand for the Cook Strait, but she was aware of what I was doing and my plans to try do the Ocean 7 within the space of the year. So she just said, look, come over. If we can fit you in, we will. Obviously, your speed plays a good factor, and we might be able to get you on days that other people might not be able to swim. So I travelled across there, and once I arrived, everything with the weather that could have gone wrong pretty much went wrong. The wind was really bad for the following weeks. There was a cyclone, 2 earthquakes, ships in the Cook Strait, so the passenger ferries were breaking down in the channel because of the rough conditions. And so there wasn't very many opportunities to swim, and those opportunities that did arise were obviously, and as they should have been, provided to the swimmers who had organised the slots. So I ended up in Wellington for about 3 weeks before I received a call from Jacqueline, and she said, look, I think there's going to be an opportunity to swim this. You might not like it though. It's on a Tuesday. It's during something called a spring tide, which I'm not sure if you're aware of the terminology. Spring tide is typically when the currents and the tides are stronger through a particular channel at a particular time. So not many people had swum during a spring tide in the Cook Strait before. People do it in the English Channel, but there wasn't that much history of it being done down in New Zealand. So she suggested this slot of swimming through the hours of darkness during spring tide. And so I was pretty nervous about that.
Mm-hmm.
And at night, and not many people had ever done this spring tide before. So there was a lot of uncertainty going into it. I'd been sitting around in Wellington for 3 weeks. I'd probably lost some fitness along the way, and people were telling me that it wasn't possible to swim during a spring tide. So that was the hardest bit, the sort of doubts that creep into your mind leading up.
Technical conditions. Okay, let's see. Andy. Okay. Hey, welcome back.
Is that okay now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Yeah, so there was a lot of things happening in the build-up to the swim that were creating doubts in my mind. And it's hard. We're all human. We're going to worry about things that we don't fully understand or have never experienced before. So that was the biggest challenge to, you know, yes, it was important to get people's opinions. A lot of people felt that swimming during a spring tide couldn't be done. But, with my team, with Jacqueline from Infinity, with Grant Orchard from Katabatic Charters, they did think it was possible. So you have to trust the team and place your faith in them. And we thought, let's just give this a crack and see what we could do. So for us, the primary objective was just to make it across. We weren't targeting records. Even one of my mentors, one of my closest mentors, has just said, "Look, a world record is out of reach for you in this swim. Don't think about it. Just get across." So we weren't even thinking about it. We just wanted to swim, and as we're getting through it, we were covering good distance and good time, and it's very easy to get quite carried away. But we tried not to. We just kept focused on the present and on the process, and it was only really until um, the last hour that I thought, right, we're actually on here and we can get this record. So uh, and fortunately enough, we did. So we touched the wall on the North Island. I think at about 4 a.m. in the morning, 4:15 a.m. in the morning, and managed to sneak under this record by about 4 minutes.
Wow. So spring tides, it means that the channel was in a special time where the currents were too fast, were running fast and difficult for anyone to cross, right?
Yes.
And that was the moment that you had, that you were the moment or the time where you were in this channel.
Yes.
And so no one recommended to even try because it was very difficult and almost impossible to break the current in, let's say, in easy terms. But you were able to manage with your crew and to maybe working on a strategy to cross, and also that means a world record, even if we don't have, or at the beginning you didn't have the certainty of even cross the channel, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it. So a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainty, but similarly to the other swims, you have your team and you place your trust in them, and all you can do is prepare as best as possible, and we felt that we could do it.
Yeah. Yes. And also I heard squares, let's say that the climate was not the best we can expect for a swim, right? For a channel cross.
Yeah, I mean, no, not many people had tried it in a spring tide, so you're trying something that's not really been done before. So there's again a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
But that comes hand in hand with trying to do something new, and
Yes.
for us, it worked out well.
Yeah. So that's nice. That's another good story. So I think also lessons for everyone, and congratulations for this world record, and happy to know that tale and that you crossed safely. So that's the most important part. Okay,
Yes,
so
absolutely.
let's jump to our next ocean, which is Molokai, the fourth ocean. Molokai to Oahu. This is in Hawaii. This is 44 kilometers completed in April 2023. And the question would be, what was the most unexpected situation you have faced, and how did you handle it?
So with this swim, I think the most unexpected situation was the head-on current. Um, we were swimming into a very strong head-on current, very much from the get-go, and it really impacted our pace and the distance we were covering. So, to give an example, in New Zealand, I probably was averaging around 5 kilometers an hour. In Molokai, might have been closer to half of that, 2.5 Ks an hour, and then at some points only 1,500 meters per hour. Now,
Wow.
for the average for all the swimmers out there, 1,500 meters per hour is taking 4 minutes to do 100 meters. So when you've got the longest channel swim of the ocean, 44 kilometers, and you're only
Mhm.
covering 1.5 kilometers an hour, it's a
Mhm.
very daunting prospect. And I'd already been having quite a rough time with the swell. I'd been sick quite a lot, felt very nauseous, wasn't making much ground. You're swimming through the night, it's very disorientating. I'd had a shark encounter. Um, and so all these things were really, difficult to process. We could do all the training in the world to prepare for swimming a long distance or for swimming at nighttime or swimming in the cold. But the psychological aspect of it is so hard to prepare for when things aren't going well and you're faced with adversity and uncertainty. It is very confronting, and it's a real test of your character in those moments because you've got nothing to draw on to tackle these things.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were just talking about the spring tides, and now we believe that that was the most hardest. But then Molokai. Only so the comparison is good. 5 kilometers per hour to 2.5 kilometers per hour, and in some parts 1.5 kilometers in P. So yeah, this is very hard. So
Mm.
Molokai has a lot of um, strongest current. It's like you're trying to swim against a big force that is moving in the contrary, right?
That's it. And if you look at the GPS of the swim, it's a big squiggly line. It's not straight like the other swims. We were getting pushed off course. We weren't making very much forward progress, and it's very similar to life. Sometimes that's how you feel. You're not moving
Yes.
forward. So
Hmm.
it was an excellent analogy for life. And for me in those moments, it was tough and it wasn't terribly enjoyable. And I absolutely thought about quitting. I felt like throwing in the towel so many times. Um, but I kept on pushing. And
Hmm.
you know what helped in those moments, you know I think having your team out there obviously is a really big part, providing encouragement and support. I had Jay Purcell again on the boat, Joy Kalmakovs, Mike Twig Smith, and his wife, and they were fantastic in keeping me motivated and encouraged and supported during what can be a very isolating time. But for me, I fought back to the purpose behind all of this.
Hmm.
To why am I doing the Ocean 7? Why am I putting myself through this pain right now? Why should I keep going? And you know, the reason behind it, I'm doing these swims for a bigger cause. I'm doing these swims to raise money for mental health, to support this important issue. And from a personal point of view, I'm trying to do my family proud with these swims. You know, they've invested so much faith and time in me over the years. Mum and dad taking me to swimming lessons, and early morning training when they're scraping ice off the car in the west coast of Scotland to drive me to the pool. Um, and I thought of what they would say to me in those moments, and it really, it was a real emotional roller coaster, but it certainly galvanized me to keep pushing forward, and I wanted to do it for them.
Yeah, nice, really nice, and congratulations for these swim as well. I think difficult situations. The longest swim, I think one of the most difficult ones, but you again managed to complete it. And and for mental health awareness, so yeah, that's very nice, and we are happy to have you here completing this for mental health, Andy. So let's move to our next ocean, the five ocean. This is the Strait of Gibraltar in Spain, Spain to Morocco. 14.4 kilometers completed in May this year, and it means a British record. So please share some remarks from this swim.
Well, the swim in Spain, I was very excited for. I have mis tíos viven en España. That's
Ah.
where I practice my Spanish, or my Spanglish. So they came down to watch, which was lovely, and I reunited with my family there. So that was incredible. I was still. This would have only been 2 weeks after the Molokai swim, and I was still quite fatigued, both physically and mentally, coming from that. Molokai had taken almost 16 hours to cross. I was hospitalized after the swim, so the recovery was paramount. I didn't feel very good going into the Strait of Gibraltar, but the plus side was that it was a fairly short swim comparatively to the others. So we got this beautiful day, really flat, calm waters. But something you mentioned um, earlier when we were talking about mental health, on the surface it looked really calm in the Strait of Gibraltar, but the currents, usually there's a big assisting current that will help swimmers, and it will push them across to Morocco. And we didn't have that on our day. So I didn't have that current assistance. I put together an incredible swim um, based on how I felt, and the energy that I had, and the effort put into it. Um, but the time was perhaps slower than what people might have expected. I think a lot of people had expectations that I might come in and break the world record, which is 2 hours 14, and think I finished on 2 hours 56 or 2 hours 57. And with these records, the everything has to really go right for you. Everything has to be perfect, and you have to have calm winds and calm seas, or assistance with currents, and we didn't have the latter. So it was what it was. I had a really good swim there. I was very pleased with the effort, and it was a lesson for me that what is success. you know Others might have seen that as, they might have been surprised that I didn't go faster. But for me, it was the best performance I could put together, and I was really happy. So that was a success for me, and that was a great lesson. And success is a perspective. We get to choose what constitutes as a success and what isn't.
Yeah, yeah. So very nice swim, and yeah, the lessons that you again obtained from this swim, right? So yeah, in the photos, the surface looks like a mirror. It was it looks like calm. It was like a paradise. But as you mentioned, in the underwater, the story may be different, and that also are part of the conditions of the swim conditions. But as long as you feel that the swim it was doing great for your purpose, and I think coming from Molokai and doing this swim, I think that is the most important, right? The most important part. And it was a British record as well, and I know the expectation to be a huge depression. It means also pressure from the outside, but the most important thing in alignment with mental health is how do you feel with your effort, and you feel that it was a great effort, a teamwork, and that's enough. So
Mm.
a great swim. So nice. Congratulations on that as well. So now move to our next ocean, and well, in Spanish is the sexto, the
The
sixth, I
sixth.
think it's,
Yes,
yeah.
that's it.
Uh-huh. And this is Catalina Channel, and which means to go in a boat to Catalina Island, and then move to swimming, of course, to Los Angeles, right? 32 kilometers completed in July this year, and a British record as well. And the question would be, what was the most challenging moment, and what was the beautiful part of the swim as well?
So the most challenging moment was again before the swim. Um, I'd I'd had a month back in Perth to prepare for July, which I was going to be swimming Catalina and Sugaru both in July. Um, when I was in Perth, I had quite a stressful month. Um, a couple of issues at work were really demanding. Um, and from a personal point of view, I was going through some cash flow issues where I didn't have much money in the bank, and I still had these two swims to organize to pay for, and to two trips to pay for. And I think what some people might not know about me or with my Ocean Seven, I've paid for this all myself. I'm not sponsored financially. I wasn't able to get anybody to come on board at the beginning. I thought that maybe with a few runs on the board, there might be some interest. Unfortunately, that never happened. So it has been self-funded, a self-funded venture, and that was very tough. We'd come this far, we'd done 5 swims, and I was at a stage where I was running out of money. Um, but yet we still had these 2 swims to go, and I think the hardest thing for me was, I'd done my best to try not ask my friends or family for money, because this is something that I've chosen to do, and really it's up to me to. I felt that it was up to me to fund it and finance it, and the hardest part of Catalina was before it, and I was in tears on the phone to my sister asking for an emergency loan, and for her to bail me out. So that was tough. I didn't want to have to you know, for people to have to kind of, give support me like that and financially, but it really made a difference. But when I did get out to Los Angeles, I just really crashed mentally. I got ill. I was spending most of my days in bed before the swim. I just felt exhausted, and I didn't want to be there. I just didn't. Not that I didn't want to be in Los Angeles. The people that I met there were fantastic and lovely, and I really enjoyed their company. But I didn't want to do a swim that was 32 kilometers. I didn't feel up to it, and it wasn't really until the day um, that turned around. I had people flying in from Scotland. My family flew over from Scotland to come and visit and be on the boat. I had friends flying from other parts of California to again be part of the boat and support. And their company and enthusiasm and encouragement just really rubbed off and buoyed my spirits. And I knew that even though I don't feel 100%, I mean, I didn't even feel 50% going into that swim. But I knew that whatever happened, I would give it my best.
Mm. Let's wait for a moment to recovery connections. Recovery connection. Yeah, let's see. Okay, let's see. Remove these and add these. Hi, welcome back.
Sorry about that. I think it's my internet.
No worries.
But yeah, it was another swim like Gibraltar. It was very flat on the surface, but there was strong cross currents, and that made it very challenging out there. But it was very beautiful. There was the bioluminescence under the water, really clear sky with just stars scattered across the night sky, and that was really surreal to swim through, and to have my family there encouraging me and supporting me through those moments. Shelley Taylor Smith came across from Australia as well. She was on the boat. She's been a big mentor of mine. Yeah, I was very fortunate to be out there, and it was just another incredible reminder that it's a privilege to do these swims, and you know even though you might not be feeling your best, you can still take an appreciation for nature and remember that you remember to enjoy those moments.
Yeah, that's nice. And yeah, um, yeah, financial support for this challenge, it's not easy to get. Well, people may know or may not know that these challenges are very expensive to afford. It's not any cheap. So when a swimmer have with the idea to complete the Ocean 7, it means it is not only the desire, it's not only the preparation, not only the capacity, it's not only that all that aspects, but also the finance, the funds, and that is a real. Sometimes it's an issue, or it's something that we don't know, we don't count on. So yeah, what Andy was mentioned now in Catalina, it's something real. It's expensive to complete the Ocean 7, especially when we don't have like sponsorships or companies that support you. But the reason why he was doing is mental health, and I think that was enough for him to do whatever needs to be done to complete it. So that's something that I think all of us appreciate at the end. Thank you for that. I think what you are doing is investing mental health in worldwide mental health. It's not only the swims. Believe me, it's some persons close to me. When I'm like always talking about swimming, swimming here, swimming here, swimming here. But when I mention someone is swimming to raise awareness for mental health, to raise money for charity in regards to mental health. So people that normally don't pay attention to me about my swims stories pay attention to me and says, "Wow, nice," and share the information, and stand up to, let's say, this is something important to hear, to support, to comment on. So what you are doing, and that was difficult for you also to afford yourself, I think it's touching many people in many countries. In my community, in my open water swimming community, I always try to keep people informed about this, and they say like, "Oh wow, that's I didn't know that something like this was happening, that someone is swimming for this issue, this cause." So I know you had a difficult time there, but let me thank you on behalf of many others that maybe cannot know you and don't have the opportunity to talk to you. But thank you, because I think you have done a good job. You're doing a good job, and these world records, these news, are going to help that maybe someone that is knowing don't doing good, it's not feeling well, have the, I think, the feeling that someone worries for him, even if they don't know you, right? And you don't know to that person, but you're swimming for the for the issue that the person is happening, that is not feeling well due to mental health issues, and so you are doing that. So let me tell you that even if it was very difficult for you in many aspects, and financial especially, you have invested in mental health of the world, of many one, and that's something that I would like to thank you and recognize you, and let me tell you that. So it's something that I don't know, the dollars will multiply for the number of for the speed of currents that you have seen. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, that's very nice. And the other part is about the channel, the cross itself. So Catalina, yeah, it's a swim at the night. You can have the opportunity to see the stars and to appreciate the beauty of the ocean, and maybe peace that give us the swim. I have the opportunity to swim 3 kilometers in a swim that is called La Nocturna here in Lima.
The night.
Yep, and I swim in the night. We have lights here, and I was like swimming and seeing here the stars, here the moon. So at the right, to the left, what's nice, very very nice, and even if it was a race, I didn't want it to finish quickly or faster. For me, it was like if I turn, swimming like a backstroke and seeing the sky. So yeah, that is something that when we do this kind of stuff, realize that what wonderful can be the nature, and sometimes we don't realize of that. We are worried about many things, but we didn't have the opportunity to appreciate it. So that are the two parts that I would like to remark of your ocean, your 6 ocean 7, the Catalina one, and appreciate what you have shared with us, Andy. Thank you. Okay, so let's move to our next one and last one, that is the ocean number 7, which is Tsugaru Strait. This is, let me see if I can pronounce correctly, Honshu to Honkkaido. That is in Japan.
Hokkaido. Yep.
Hokkaido. Yeah. Okay. And Japan. Kilometers completed. I'm reading well. 19.5. I believe it was more.
It was more.
Yeah. I completed in July. So last month passed. And please list the aspects to take into account to make a successful swim for this Subaru channel, because it was, I followed I follow many of your transmissions, but this especially, and I was like saying, hopefully he will be okay. Hopefully he's going to cross the Sugaru Strait. And I see your mom cheering on you, and it was your coach. Yeah. So yeah, tell us a little bit, please.
Well, firstly, thank you for your kind words there, Rosa. That's very lovely of you. And yes, mum was fantastic out there in the Suguru Strait. I think in order to make a successful swim, everyone needs a mum like that, a big cheerleader and rock in your corner. She was just truly fantastic. So, like you mentioned, there was a lot happening in Suguru in the build up to that swim. There was a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of unsuccessful attempts before me. People having bad experiences out in the water and with one of the providers. And so, there was a lot of negativity online coming into that swim, and we really had to shut it out and really focus in on, again, what we could control, which was the preparation that we did and how we would swim on the day. So we were taking into consideration the currents. That was the biggest challenge facing us with Suguru. The cross currents, especially. If you think of the Pacific Ocean the Sea of Japan and the Pacific Ocean, Sea of Japan's higher up, and water flows from west to east. So it's like swimming across a raging river, and the currents were getting up to speeds of 10 kilometers an hour. So if you're swimming across that, and my fastest speed is more or less five kilometers an hour, you're not beating nature. You're not able to fight fight against something like that. So we had been working with the skipper and the organizer, so lovely man Hariyuki Ishii, as to how we could best plan to cross the channel, and we thought that if we could get high up enough across and then start swimming with the current, and then try break through it again on the other side, and do this big S bend, we might have a chance. And so that's what happened on the day. We tried to do that approach. Um, we encountered some very, very difficult conditions. From the get go, I was sick within 30 minutes because I was just getting thrown around so much by the surface drops. Um, but we had to we had to make the most of what we were given. There weren't any other better days, unfortunately, not during my window. So um, this was our only shot, and we had to take that opportunity that was presented to us.
Yeah. So yeah, the Sugaru swim, the Sugaru cross, mm, painted like impossible to do, right? Um, I was not aware about mm, the previous the not successful swim on this year. I don't know if you did, but uh, the fact that was that difficult or that conditions, it was like something that was not good for a swimmer who want to cross. But the good part, and I like it how to handle this, that you study the currents. And I was seeing your stories, and you were like real study in the night and seeing the currents like this, currents like that, where I can cross. And so making a plan to do the best you can to cross. So it seems that's something that I like a lot. But yes, so that speed of the currents, 10 kilometers, it's brutal. And the fact that you were able to complete it, that's very amazing. And yeah, and that completed your Ocean 7 journey. So yeah, a great effort. And your mom at your side, yeah, that's what's the best. I think that's like a message for everyone in that is struggling in life with any issue, especially mental health issues, that is the cause behind these swims, that it's important to get the support of family, friends, and close people to you. Yeah, so that's very. And I remember, and I always, and for my swims, I remember when I was swimming, I remember that the words of your mom, like it's swim, smile, relax, stretch, maximum
Stretch.
speed, maximum speed. So yeah, that's great. So please give my greetings to your mom. I think she was a fundamental part of all your swims, your Ocean 7 journey. You're successful, and I think that it's like she swims along with you and embrace your desire to bring awareness about this cause, and that's lovely. So that's nice. So congratulations for that. And now you completed your Ocean 7, so let's let's move to our last parts of this interview. Hope everyone is enjoying, and let's see what is the hard part of this journey, what is the most rewarding part of the journey, and what comes next, Randy. I know for the last part is to rest. That's the answer.
That is a good answer. I mean, I think the hardest part was probably that period in June where I was really struggling mentally and didn't have the finances and was worried that it was all going to unravel and that we wouldn't be able to do it to continue doing these swims. So that was a real challenge in terms of swimming challenges. Certainly, Subaru was the toughest, and like you said, and I think you really raised a good point that um, during those tough times, when you have good people around you, it certainly makes it a lot easier. And I had mum there, I had my uncle Handy there, I had Jay Purcell on the boat again, Ishii was there, Mitsushimu, and you weren't tackling these challenges alone. And so, yeah, another great analogy for life, and having a great network of support around you for navigating those life challenges. The most rewarding moment of this journey, um, I mean, it was quite nice to finish Suguru because that was it. It was done, and then we managed to complete this impossible swim. Um, I think for me, it's obviously it's great to complete swims and to break records and all these things, but I think the most rewarding thing has actually been the friendships made and the connections. All these people around the world that I've been fortunate to meet and to get to know and develop friendships with. The fact that we're chatting here, we live on other sides of the world, and swimmers over in Los Angeles or in Ireland or in England, India, this challenge, yes, I think it's a great thing for swimmers to pursue and work towards, but I think it's a real vehicle for bringing people together too. It gives people a reason to be connected to, people in Ireland. It gives them shared a common ground to people over in New Zealand because someone from there might go across and do the swim on the other side of the world as part of the Ocean Seven, and it's bringing people together. So that's been the biggest takeaway for me. It's been all about the people, and like we said before, it's you can't do these challenges on your own. I've had so many people helping me so along the way and supporting, and none of this would have been possible without them. So I'd love to give a big shout out to them, family and friends, all the guys in all these locations that I've been fortunate to meet, and all the organisers. They've just been fantastic. So that's been the most rewarding thing out of this journey. And in terms of what's next, you like you said, Rose, definitely some rest. Um, but I've got a few things in the works, and I think I'll definitely be continuing to swim and to support causes that are close to my heart. So it's not the end of Andy Donaldson. It's more like it's the beginning.
Yeah, that's good news. We're going to know more about Andy swims, and we like a lot your way of doing your in Spanish is the part where you took your drinks. I don't know in Spanish how to say that, but in English it's like take drinks when you are doing your swims in the water. So how do you handle to do this and then do that? That's nice. That's nice. I tell my friends about this. You don't know Andy? Andy do this. Let's try it. And everybody drowns. Yeah, yeah, yes. En Spanish es habituallamiento. En español es habituallamiento. I don't know how to say that in English, but it's like when you are swimming. Well, for everyone who is not a swimmer, maybe don't know that we need to take some drinks with some I don't know. This is hail, something like that in your drinks. because we don't swim 8 hours or 12 hours or 15 hours without eating anything. You eat, yes, but in liquid forms.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is the part that we like the most, and yeah, I think we're going to see more about that, and we are happy to have you, Andy, here as part of our open water swimming community. So let me move to the next part and the final part, which is final words for global open water community, especially to Peru, Mexico, Chile, and all the countries that follow Red Santa Mar, please. And also a piece of advice for any person who wants to start in this sport.
So I think final words for the global open water swimming community and the guys in Peru, Mexico, and Chile. You know, I'm very grateful for all the support and the encouragement along this journey. Um, it's been very humbling, and I've been so grateful for people taking the time to message and send through such lovely words. Um, it's a real reminder that what we're doing is um, we're on the right tracks in supporting something like mental health, that it's impacting people positively. And I think it's a really encouraging sign about how friendly and collaborative the swimming community is, the open water swimming community is. So for people wanting to start in this sport, what I would say is, reach out to someone that's already involved in it. It's a very welcoming sport. People are always happy to help and get you set up and started. And yeah, it's just the most incredible community, and I would wholeheartedly encourage you to give it a try and see what you think, because it's been life changing for me. Um, I've made most of my best friends through swimming, and chances are it'd be the same for you. So um, yeah, taking that leap and giving it a go, I would encourage anyone that's interested in starting to do that.
Great, great, Andy. Good words and great advice. I think I support that as well. So yeah, get help, get around people who are involved, and just jump and swim a little. Okay, so now we are in the final part of this interview. I hope everyone enjoyed it as I did. I learned tons of things, and I'm happy to chat with you and to talk to you today. And let me thank you for all what you did. And I think you are a good inspiration for everyone. And this cause is, making a point um, in the worldwide um, community that is struggling with these diseases, and they don't feel alone because they know that Andy has completed 7 oceans for mental health, and have suffering for a lot of issues and battling against mm, demon currents, and that all of this to get some comfort, some help, some kind of support for everyone who is passing through mental health diseases, families that has people that is close, people that is suffering from mental health. So I think that's very nice to have you, Andy, here. So thank you very much. You are welcome to come to Peru, to Lima, whenever you want. We can go to Machu Picchu, to Paracas, to whatever you like, to the jungle, to see rivers. Yeah, so you are more than welcome to visit Peru whenever you want in your plans. To go to the Titicaca Lake. This is in your in some of your years coming.
Well,
Yeah,
it's you know, I'd love to visit more of South America, and Peru is, you know, es mi sueño a visitar ahí. So I'd love to visit.
yeah. So hopefully one day. So let me know, and we are going to be happy to have you here and show you more of our country, our rivers, our ocean, our lagoons, our lake, and yeah. So thank you very much for your time as well. I think it's late in Australia now, but thank you for your time. And congratulations again for your Ocean 7 records. And yeah, whenever you want to reach me out for anything, please just send me a message. If you wanted to share something from our local community, Latin American community, also as well, let me know. I can help with that. And yeah, time to say goodbye. But thank you very much, Andy.
Thank you
Appreciate
very much,
everything.
Rose. Take
Okay.
care.
And thank you to everyone who have seen this interview, and please share. And you're going, if you don't see it yet, just take your time to see it. There is a lot of information, useful, very nice information here. Thank you very much. Bye.